the hill. Something there. What? Sorry.
Today's video is going to be about my top 3 heels I recommend for anybody out there, whether you're a teenager looking forward to when you make your first money to buy a pair of Louboutin heels, or an adult that has been wishing for that. It does not matter whether you're 0 years old or 100 years old. It does not matter. This is Louboutin 101 is what I'm going to call this video. Just talking about my 3 heel recommendation for beginners as well. So if you're a heel expert, you don't need to watch this video, or you can watch it for the fun of it. Anyway, before I get into my heel recommendation, I would want to go into a little bit of the history, because I believe it is nice to understand the background of something, because when you understand the background, the history behind a brand, it helps you to appreciate the brand more or dislike it even more. Either way, you are informed. So let's get into it. Class is in session. Louboutin 101. I'll talk about the history, a brief history of the brand, my own history with the brand, why Louboutin in the first place. I mean, why should anybody want to have a pair of Louboutin heels? There are other brands out there. And then I will get into my 3 recommendations for their heels. So, if you want to skip along, be my guest. Now, a little bit of the history. Louboutin brand is known as the brand that brought stiletto heels into fashion that brought back stiletto heels into fashion in the late 1990s and early 2000s. One of the driving forces for the brand, the motto for the brand was to create heels, to create shoes that broke rules and gave women confidence and empowered women. In his words, I wanted to create shoes that broke rules and made women feel confident and empowered. Those were his driving force behind his stiletto heels. And this driving force, this motto, came from sometime in his youth. I think in the 1976 or thereabouts, he went into a Museum of Africa. I will write the name on the screen, and there was a sign at the entrance that said no heels allowed, because the building had wooden flooring, so they didn't want the stiletto heels to damage the floor. And at that moment, he did not like that sign. He felt like, why? So that was where the motto, the driving force to create a shoe that broke rules and empowered women and gave women confidence. Anyway, and made women feel confident. Anyway, prior to this, he's always had interest in heels, in shoes, in heels particularly. And I think he made his first sketch at the age of 10. He made his first sketching, and the drive grew from there. Of course, this is a brief summary. I'm not here to give into the whole lowdown, but he was also a freelancer and worked for Chanel, Yves Saint Laurent, and the rest of them. I would insert a little clip in this video that gave a brief summary and overview of the brand himself, or of the man himself, the Christian Louboutin brand, just for you to get a little bit of a taster. Of course, the internet is there for further research if you want to know more. Anyway,
this is the story of Christian Louboutin. Born and raised in Paris, with his parents and 3 older sisters. As a child, free time was spent soaking up global culture at the nearby Palais de la Porte Dorée. But no stiletto heels allowed there. This little sign made a big impression on young Christian. As a teenager, he found forever friends at the legendary Parisian nightclub Le Palace, together living for the nightly theatre of self-expression. He also found a job helping entertainers transform into birds of paradise at the glamorous Folie Bergère cabaret, sharpening his eye and passion for heels. Christian then spent a year in Romain, the shoe capital of France, learning everything about cutting leather, moulding, and bichonnage. Having seen Roger Vivier as a mentor since his youth, he sees the chance to work with the great shoemaker on his first French retrospective. Following this collaboration, more time was spent absorbing colours, working as a landscape designer, and deciding to be his own boss. Back in Paris, he missed designing shoes. A gallery at Passage Véro-Doda charmed Christian enough to open his very first boutique. But an early prototype had a certain je ne sais quoi missing. Watching his assistant paint her nails sparked an idea.
Hey, that's mine!
And with that, the world-famous Red Soul was born. For Christian's limitless imagination to blossom, a made-to-measure atelier was found on nearby Rue Jean-Jacques Rousseau. The family expanded with collaborations and handbag collections, and Christian Louboutin creations were suddenly gracing famous feet on red carpets all over the world. It was pop star Mika's request to create shoes for his tour that set the scene for a permanent men's collection. Having borrowed from Beauty, Christian returned the gift, creating a fabulously unique bottle of nail polish and building it into a complete beauty range. 2020 saw a return to his roots with an all-encompassing tribute to Christian's collaborators, an exhibition at the Palais de la Porte Dorée. An exciting and ever-evolving exhibition that's set to continue its journey around the world. Today, Christian Louboutin's passion is thriving, with his constant curiosity for what's to come.
Alright, now that we've finished watching that clip, now let me get onto my history with the brand. Oh, one thing I forgot to add is that the Louboutin brand was officially established in 1991 when he opened his first store in Paris. I need to find. So, my history with the brand. Okay, it began, I don't know the day or the year, but I know as a student in my teenage years, early 20s, my uni was not too far from Brown Thomas in Dublin, Ireland. And I had this classmate of mine that we had this habit, a very nice habit I must add. Every lunchtime, both of us will walk into Brown Thomas, and with just two teenage students walking around the store, touching things that were too expensive, probably some of them more expensive than our school fees. Just joking, I don't think so. Definitely not. So walking around, touching things, admiring things. Now I realize I was actually manifesting those things. But anyway, let's not get carried away. So I just had a naturally drawn to those things. So this particular day, I was alone on this particular day. I finished my uni. Of course, I wasn't rushing home to any kids or whatever. I decided to go into Brown Thomas at like my playground and walk around again. So this time around, I went up to the shoe department and I was just lost. Walking around, I've always had a love for shoes, for heels in particular, prior to this day. However, this was the particular day I made a switch from high street, new look, Primark, whatever, to old pennies, as they will say, down stores to high street shoes. That was the day I made the switch in my head mentally to designer luxury shoes. So as I was walking around in Brown Thomas and just looking around in the shoe department, I don't even know how old I was. Anyway, probably my 18, 19, 20, I don't know. Anyway, I saw this particular Dolce & Gabbana heel. I can still visualize it. Beautiful. The heel was a statement heel. And I loved it so much. I loved it. It was one of those, if I can just blink my eye and just disappear with this heel and nobody will catch me. I loved it. But of course, I turned the price. Not that I knew I wasn't going to be able to afford it, let's be honest. But I just had to see the price. And at the time, it was 700 euros. I remember it very well. And I remember thinking to myself, 700 euros. Wow. Who is going to me then? 700 euros sounded like 7 million euros. In fact, even till date, it still sounds like that, but it's not as much of a shock. And I remember thinking to myself, I called up this guy I spoke to at the time, and I was like telling him, oh my god, there's this shoe I saw, it is this price. I was so talking about it, and I remember saying, these were my words, who even buys the shoes? Who is going to spend 700 on a shoe? If I ever spend 700 euros on a pair of shoe, I will not walk on the floor with it. I have to walk in on a carpet with it. I have to be walking on a glass with it. There is no way it's touching the floor. I mean, I had this whole... Oh. Anyway, I didn't buy that shoe, obviously. However, I went home, and that was the day my love for designer heels, for luxury heels, began. That was the day I made the switch mentally before it became a physical thing. Because I went to uni, and then I worked Fridays, Saturdays in a care home as a carer. Anyway, forget about that. History. So I started going, I now created this habit of going online, the World Wide Web. And I'll just type designer heels, and I'll just go to images, and I'll just be looking at pictures of different heels. I didn't have anything in mind. I was just scrolling, doom scrolling. There was no social media to doom scroll, so my doom scrolling at the time was just looking at beautiful heels. Then one particular day, this particular one caught my eye. It had a red sole, and I stopped. I said, wow, I've never seen one with a red sole, and red is my favorite color. So I was like, oh, this is really nice. I love this. I love this shoe with a red sole. Then I went to now type shoes with red sole, and that was how I discovered Christian Louboutin. So I discovered the shoe before I discovered the brand, and that was it. Then I realized, oh, there's actually a brand that makes heels that are with that comes with the red sole. OMG, I must have the shoe. I made it my mission in life to have at least one of his shoes. Then I remember when I went to my weekend job, and anytime I'm having a bad day, I mean, I work in a nursing home, so it wasn't exactly an easy job, so to speak. It wasn't an easy job. So anytime I'm having a hard day at work, I would literally tell myself, don't worry, when you finally get the shoe, you won't be thinking about this incident. When you're wearing the shoe, you won't be thinking about this particular day on how this thing. Honestly, that's what I was telling myself, and that is the truth. Anyway. So that is the summary. That's even a summary. That is how I discovered the Christian Louboutin brand. And as they say, the rest became a beautiful history. And that is how, yes, I'm here today. If somebody told me I'll be sitting down one day talking about this on camera, to post on YouTube, I'll be like, what the heck, please stop. Anyway, so that is how my love for the brand began. That is how I discovered the brand. That is it. So yes, now on to the next. Before I continue, this was my first pair of Louboutin heels. This is the Pigalle Folie. I got this, of course, in Brown Thomas in Dublin. Oh, I remember the day I got it. Anyway, that is it. And I still wear this shoe till today. I don't wear it as often, but it's still... See, so why Louboutin? Like, why would I say anybody should buy a pair of Louboutin shoes out of all the other brands out there? First of all, there is something to me, personally to me, his heels are so, if you're looking for something that is sleek, there's something about the sleek design of the heels that is just, I haven't seen it on any other shoe brand, like the popular designer shoe brands. It's very sleek, it's very timeless as well, it is very sexy, it has a way of capturing. It's sexy without being vulgar. It's just something about it, makes your feet look so slender. Maybe it's the thin heel, I don't know. And also it has some glamour to it as well, while still being perfect to wear anywhere. Like, it's one of those shoes that I can wear it to the office and I don't feel like, oh, it brings glamour with it wherever it goes, and it still ticks every single box. Some heels are very official looking, very serious looking, very, maybe if they're sexy, then they're overly sexy. but his heels have a way of incorporating everything. And yes, I know they're not known for comfort and all that stuff, but even him himself said there is more to a pair of shoes than the ability to walk in it. But then don't worry, I will show you the shoes you can walk in later. Anyway, his shoes just, it makes you feel like his motto or his driving force. There is a confidence that wearing a pair of heels gives you, and a pair of Louboutin heels. Only Louboutin lovers will understand. I have quite a few number of heels, but none of them make me feel if I'm going to certain place and I just want to feel more empowered, more like badass without being a bitch, or maybe a bitch in a good way. Louboutin just ticks the box. Louboutin is that heel that you can wear as a CEO and also can also wear it as a regular staff. It's just, I don't know, it's a shoe you can wear to a club and also be able to wear it to lunch. It's a shoe you can wear to school drop off, yes, and also be able to wear it to, I don't know, dinner. It's just, I don't know, the heels are just, it lifts you up emotionally, physically, and psychologically. It does. Anyway, things to bear in mind before you buy your first Louboutin. Let's get a little serious now. Things to bear in mind is this. Number one, you have to go into the store to try the shoes. There is no question about that. If you have to fly to your closest store, do so. If you have to travel an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to your closest store, do so. Because his shoes, this can be a pro, this can be a con, it's up to you. His heels, because I have to stick with heels, shoes is more incorporated. His heels fit differently on every foot. Every style of his shoe have a different fitting. And that can be a little bit of a sometimes. But if it is your first time, your first pair, please go into the store and try it on. Do not, even if they say, oh, fits true to size, take your regular size, forget it. Go into your nearest store and try it out. That is number one thing to know. Number two is this. The red buttons do come off. Now, there are new styles that has come out that the red bottoms don't come off, like the Miss Z behind me here. However, most of the styles, the red bottom comes off. And that was one of the things I remember when I bought my first pair. That was one of the things it took me a while to get used to that. I used to feel like, why can't this red bottom stay? And the part it comes off is this part. That part comes off. And the reason behind that is that the idea is that just like a sparkle that drops off as you walk along the street or something like that, the lady leaves traces of red as they walk. That is the idea behind the red sole coming off. So bear that in mind. However, if you don't want a red sole that comes off, then things like the newly released Miss Z pumps is the one to go for. But anyway, we're coming to that later. So that's another thing to bear in mind. When you try on his shoes, if your feet can slide into it easily, that is not your size. Personally, get the shoes that you have to squeeze your feet into. Not that you're squeezing it to a, like, uncomfortably squeezing it, but it shouldn't just slide in. If it slides in, that is not your size, because what happens is over time, it stretches and molds to your feet, and then it becomes too loose. And then it becomes almost impossible to walk in. So the snugger it is, the better. The tighter, and I'm saying using the word tight loosely, it is, the better. Now, my top 3 heel styles I recommend from Louboutin for any heel beginner, especially upcoming ladies, girls, whatever, is this. I will start with number 1, this one here. This is the Miss Jane. Yes, I know this block heel is not a very attractive heel, but I'm thinking if you are a beginner with heels and you're not quite confident when it comes to wearing heels or walking long distance in heels, start with something small and then work your way up. That is the way I would look at it, and that's what I did myself not with Louboutin heels, but with heels in general. I started off with a very tiny heel and then I moved up. So this Miss Jane, and when it comes to comfort as well, I would say it's also comfortable. Now, I know everybody goes on about comfort, but I believe that comfort is a personal thing, because what I tell you is comfortable to me in terms of heel might be very painful to someone else. For example, the Soulcates. Many people talk about how the Soulcate is a very uncomfortable shoe, but I don't find it. To me, it's almost like, what are people talking about? But anyway, the Miss Janes are, because of these block heels, the comfort level is very good. That's what I'm going to say. So that is a good first pair. For a first pair of heel or Louboutin heels, Miss Jane goes there. Number 2 is, this is in no particular order, mind you. Number 2, I would say the Miss Z pumps. These are the newly released style for 2025. And what makes this comfortable? First of all, I will also say the heel height is very important actually. Go for, instead of, this is 100mm, go for like 85mm if you're not confident with heels as a beginner. 85mm. 100mm will not be the best, because if you're not used to heels, you're going to struggle with it. However, when it comes to the Miss Z pumps, one thing that makes the comfort level high is the padding here. It comes with an extra padding which most of his shoes don't have. So for that reason, the Miss Z pumps and then the extra elongated toe box makes room for your toes to kind of relax a bit more. So yes, this is a good first pair recommendation, I would definitely say. Even in the 100mm heel height, it is also great. So it comes in various colors, so you can't go wrong with this. And also it comes with a forever red sole, so if you don't want something that scratches, that's another point for Miss Z. Now another style, I said I wouldn't talk about 3 styles, so let's stick to the 3rd style. The 3rd style, for the sake of this video, will be the eraser pumps. I would have said the Pigalle Folie, however the Pigalle Folie is currently discontinued. It's coming back again, so I wouldn't talk about it since it's not in the market yet for now. So the eraser pumps will come into it, and the eraser pumps comes in 100mm. It comes in, I think it comes with 120 as well, I'm not sure, but 185 and even I think as low as 65 or 75. So the heel heights, you have options. What makes this one a good first pair is, first of all, the style is, I mean, look at that. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's sexy, it's elegant, it's timeless, it's everything. And also when it comes to comfort, this opening here gives room for your feet to relax a bit in it. So that means, unlike say the Miss Z, where your whole foot is kind of squashed into a shoe, if that, for want of a better word, this is not as squashed because it has a little bit of a breathing space there, which gives it a little bit more comfort. So these are the 3 heels I would recommend for a first timer for Louboutin heels. Now let's go on to the materials. As a first timer, I would also, apart from the heel height, look at the material of his shoes. Shoes that come in suede are definitely much more comfortable, or will feel much more comfortable than those that come in the patent leather, just because of the material suede. Any shoe that comes in the mesh as well, like the mesh materials, also gives a feel like it's almost like your feet is getting a hug. So this is also like the mesh is also a good material to look out for, because the materials the shoe comes in helps, especially if you're a beginner, so that you don't buy one and swear never to buy another one again. Now last but not least is, do not buy a Soulcate if it is your first time, because people make this mistake a lot. The Soulcate is this one. Actually, I'm wearing it right here. The Soulcate. People make the mistake of buying this as their first pair, and I get it. It is beautiful. It's, I mean, what's not to love? But the problem is, if you're not used to Louboutin heels, you would absolutely dislike buying the shoe, because that's one of the things you buy and be like, never again am I spending my house on buying this, because it is not recommended for beginners. These are the shoes that made the brand what it is. These are the stilettos that put the brand on the map, so to speak, the Soul Kates. And I love them. I do love them. However, I cannot say I love them and I wear them. However, I know a beginner would struggle with it. A non-heel person, I wouldn't recommend it. So don't make that mistake. You try it on a store, it feels really good, you're looking so beautiful, and you're walking on a carpet, because the stores are carpeted, so it doesn't feel as uncomfortable. And then you get home and you wear it out for the first day and you're like, no, don't. Stay away from the Soul Kates unless you are an expert. Anyway, so I think that is it for this video. These are my recommendations, so I hope this helps anybody out there. And let me know in the comment section, what is your first pair of Louboutin you're hoping to get, if you are, and if you are an ardent Louboutin lover that has maybe how many pairs. What was your first pair? My first pair was a Pigalle Folie in patent degradé. What was your first pair of Louboutin? Let's all share in the comment section, and I hope this video helps anybody out there, even if it's one person, to go to your nearest Christian Louboutin store and snag yourself a first pair, and trust me, you will not regret it. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. If you have any video idea, let me know in the comment section and I will deliver. Thank you, and click like, subscribe, and yeah, all the fun stuff. Bye bye.